Hey guys, today I'll be going over how I made my track Joker, which recently released on NCS a couple of months ago. If you haven't listened to it yet, it sounds like this.
Clock's ticking, time is over. Before you know you're older. So sober, alone, the bitch you get in my cold shoulder. You crying like it's rain. You causing all the pain. No closure, I'm colder. You getting nothing, Joker.
Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe on the channel if you want to see more future content like this and to stay updated with my future releases. And today I'll be telling you about the track here without the extended part, because the extended mix is pretty easy to make. If you want me to tell you how I make my extended mixes, leave a comment down below and let me know. Talking about the break here, the break sounds like this. So the most important element of the break here would be the Reese bass, which is of course present in a lot of tracks, but I find that it's very unique to this track because of the notes and melodies and how I've presented it. And for me, the Reese bass actually sets the tone for the whole track and the whole vibe of the track. And here it sounds like this. And now on its own, you can see it's pretty blank and it does not feel very layered. And that's why I've added horns here to accentuate the notes. And along with the horn, it sounds like this. So it gives a very nice layer to the sound and of course the melody playing around here. And then yeah, we have some instruments here, the perk loop and the cowbell, and they sound like this. As you can see, cowbell is pretty common, but the perk loop here is from the Jonas Eden sample pack, and the perk loop actually volume automate and pans itself from left to right, and that's why I think it is a pretty unique sound to have here, and I wanted to keep in this track. And that is why we have this atmospheric sound here, a guitar sample, and it sounds like this. It sounds pretty atmospheric and sounds very cool here. Another unique instrument in this track, which I feel sounds really good and a bit natural too, with the, of course, the pitch bends. It is this. A flute, yeah. So I don't think anyone could have anticipated for me to have a flute in this track, because it's not very Indian sounding, or a bit ethnical in my opinion, but it actually made a very unique sound in this track, and it has a very different sound to it, and of course that's why it keeps the listener interested in the track. And then the whole break sounds like this. So yeah, here we have the vocals. The vocals are chopped up from a vocal hook I got from Splice. It's this one, and it is only repeating the word Joker because first of all, that is the title of the track, and second of all, I do not have any other part of the vocals to put here. Like I did not have a pre-chorus or a verse. That's why I just had to chop up the hook here, and I repetitively put the word Joker. Now, as you can see that it is pitch automating itself, and I have not added any pitch automation for it in the project. The plugin which is doing the pitch automation here is the Manipulator, and I have used the preset Capricious. So I have used the sequencer here, which automates the notes very randomly, as you can see here. And so this whole plugin is doing the pitch automation for me without actually making any pitch automations by hand. And then I have this little alt boy here where I have actually put the formant down to give it a very deep texture in the voice. Then I have a parametric EQ too, which is doing nothing like usual. I actually mix on another project, that's why it's not present here for some reason. Then I have a Valhalla room for reverb. Then I have a fruity delay for delay. Then yeah, this one important plugin here is called Portal. And Portal actually is a very different and unique plugin on its own, and I've used it in the second part of the break, and I'll tell you how I've used it. We go to the build up here. The build up sounds like this.
Clock's ticking, time is over. Before you know you're older. So sober, alone, the bitch you getting.
Again, as you can see, I have the 808 here. And then a kick to to actually have a very fast attack on the 808. All the build-ups are actually pretty similar to each other. The snares are going faster and faster towards the end. The horn is getting faster to match the speed of the snares. And then we have some normal uprisers. There is this one upriser which I made from a sample, and it sounds like this on its own. In my opinion, it sounds pretty cool and gives a unique character to the track. So as you can see, I have different unique elements in the track, and I've used this in the build up, in the drop as well. So I've used it in 2 build-ups and similar part of the drop in the 2 drops. So yeah, that is the whole build-up here. Of course, with the whole vocal hook. I forgot to tell you this. The vocal actually has a cuss word in it, and I couldn't use a cuss word. Using a cuss word is not very smart in a track which is going to be heard by a lot of people. And the track also needs to be very platform friendly. That's why I removed the word in the final version which I sent to NCS. And the drop sounds like this. So yeah, the drop has very different elements here. Of course, there are the instruments, the normal, the kick, the clap, loop, and the crash effect. Then I have this bass here which I've used in another part of the track, but I've changed it up. So the bass on its own sounds like this. Of course, pitched up. It's a very simple plugin from Serum, and it's from Reveal Recordings, yeah. So yeah, it sounds like this without any pitch bending. And then I have a sub bass here because I have removed the bass frequencies in the in this particular instrument, and with the sub bass it sounds like this. Now it sounds very fuller, and of course the track needs sub bass throughout the drop. And then we go to the second main lead of the drop, and it sounds like this on its own. As you can see, it's also pitch bending up, which is very similar to the first lead that we just saw. And it's a wobbly bass, and it's from a different pack. So about using presets, it's totally cool to use presets. You have to make them sound a bit unique, which I sometimes do and sometimes I don't. But some sounds, as you can see, are very similar in genre, and that's why the tracks sound a bit similar. But also it was a pretty clean sound, and I just EQ'd it properly, and that's why I kept using it. As you can see, it only has a parametric EQ2 to cut the low end and the high end. Then I have an OTT here, which is compressing the sound just a bit. I believe in the mix project I have added an effect track and CQ to accentuate the high end of the sound. And then coming to the filler bass. So as you can see, I've used a bass here, which I just told you about. The bass here, it's being used here and here. So I need a filler bass to fill this part of the track, and it sounds like this. As you'll be seeing in my future releases, I've used this bass a lot, and that's why I've named it Anixto Drop Bass, because I like the gritty and the dirty sound it has. Yeah, I'm a freak. Then we come to the melody part of the track, and the melody part has these elements. The first element is actually just a pluck. Now this pluck only has an attack, and that's why I can't use it on its own. So I added this another plucky sound which sounds like this. It has a lot of body to it, and together they sound like this. Now you get the attack and the body, so it makes the track sound fuller. And then we have the plucks here, of course, with pitch automation on, and the plucks in the second part sound like this. Now, if you remove this part and only let these plucks play, it would sound a bit weird. That's why I added the same melody to the plucks above as well, which added a lot of body and attack to the track. And I guess that is it for the drop. We have this woo riser, of course, in the drop, which is pitching up. And then we come to the break. So in this break, I've wanted to keep some elements as the main elements of the break. And that's why you can see there is just this diva bass which I'm using and the chords from diva. I'll tell you the preset I have, and I've frequency automated them. So the bass on its own sounds like this. Has a very Reese sound to it, and of course it's getting frequency automated up, so it creates some sort of movement in the track. And I guess the preset is from diva only, the main preset, whatever they have. This is the same preset they give you in the diva. And then I have chords here. The chords sound like this. They're also frequency automating up towards the end. And of course, it's also the same preset. I don't know why I have used 3 sounds. And they sound like this. The same thing. A very softer chord. But of course, I used the same plugin, which is Diva, to keep the sound organic. So I just tagged, and together they sound like this. A very important element of the house tracks I have heard throughout house music is this high string. I call this silent string because, of course, it's like a ringing sound that you hear when you have tinnitus, and I have tinnitus.
Are you deaf? I said, are you deaf?
Many musicians have tinnitus because of the loud music we're exposed to. So I call it the silent noise. Like, I get it that silence means no noise, but it's actually a very particular frequency which fills up the gap pretty well in the track.
Time is over. Before you know your order.
So we have to talk about the vocals here. The vocals are pitch bending up, as you can see. I've showed you how I use the manipulator for it. And then there's this thing called portal, which makes the vocal sound like this.
Time is over. Before you know your order.
So it creates some sort of a very atmospheric element to the track and keeps the vocals very wet. And that's what I like.
Yes, I'm just a freak.
And that's why I've used the portal. Then you can see towards the second part of the break, I have actually added some sort of more groovier elements like this kick here, which sounds like this. I could have used a perk or a tom here, but I wanted to keep the lower body of the kick, and it makes it very groovier instantly. Then I have the top loop here. Then another thing I have added here would be, of course, the main unique element of this track, which is the flute.
Time is over.
Then we come to the break. So something different that I've done here in the break, other than this first part of the break, is actually add this 808 snare, which sounds like this. And then we go towards the build up, the same build up.
Clock ticking, time is over. Before you know you're older. So sober, alone, a bitch you getting.
Oh something different I've done here in the build up would be to actually filter out the snares. So in the starting you don't hear them, but slowly you hear them getting more body and sounding more prominent.
Clock ticking, time is over. Before you know you're older.
This one.
You crying like it's rain. You causing all the pain. No closure, I'm colder.
So yeah, the other different thing which I've done in the drop here would be to actually add this percussion, which sounds like this. It's just one perk sound and it sounds like this on its own. So yeah, it sounds pretty cool and pretty full to me, so that I felt I did not need to layer it, and also complements the wobbly sound pretty well. And yeah, that's the track. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough, and if you have any more questions, do let me know in the comments below, and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more future content like this. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe and take care.